Hello guys, it is Modest Major here, bringing you a commentary on some Gears of War Judgement. That's exciting to say. I like a bit of Judgement, and this game is awesome. I love this game. I'm trying to be objective, I'm trying to be very critical of this game, so I don't find out like 2 minutes into the release that I despise the game or something like that, which would suck, because I don't want to hate the game. I really don't want to hate the game. Like, at the moment, I'm just like, wow, this game is awesome. This game is what a Gears fan wanted. Now, unfortunately, there is stuff in this game that is annoying at the moment. Now, it isn't necessarily on a gameplay mechanics level, although there are a few mechanics levels that might annoy me over time. But the main problems with this game so far is that there are not enough maps. There are only 4 maps. 4 maps! 4! And it basically starts to feel a bit like a beta, a very good beta at that, a very, 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 very good beta at that, a very well balanced with finely tuned mechanics, with awesome weapons, with great power weapons, with great power weapon placements, and just awesome map layouts in general. But at the same time, a beta. It has 4 maps and not very many game modes to be getting on with. You know, you've got your overrun, your domination, your TDM, and your free-for-all. That is it, 4 modes. And it starts to feel like a bit of a sour experience. Not sour, but just a bit mundane over time. You know, you're playing the same playlist, the same 4 maps, and apparently on April 2nd, they're releasing new maps, which is awesome, which is very nice to hear. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it feels like they almost put, they concentrated more on making the game better, and making the game mechanics great, and finely tuning the mechanics, but put the amount of maps and the amount of content to be getting on with on the back burner, which is something you can't really do. And although the gameplay mechanics are perfect, they are like, from a Gears player's perspective, they're not perfect, obviously, there's a few mistakes, but overall the game just feels great. It's what a Gears fan, it is what I have been itching for ever since Gears of War 1. I felt like they never nailed the gameplay quite as much. Gears 3 had its problems. It, for me, had retro, the sword off, obvious problems that everyone really knew about. Then it had stopping power. Stopping power basically meant that players were able to play in a more defensive manner way too easily. Got a cough. I don't want to redo this commentary because of that cough, so I'm going to carry on. I'm going to carry on with the gusto, with the enthusiasm. But basically, it had a lot of problems. It had high ground. There was too much high ground in the game and too much defensive gameplay mechanics. The stopping power meant that if you were rushing around with the map, you had to be very careful, because if you rushed into a certain area, you would be literally nailed down by just lancer fire. You would just be nailed to the wall almost. You pushed back, and it felt like rushing and aggressive gameplay mechanics were not encouraged, which to me is very disappointing. Like, I don't like games like that. I don't like games where defensive gameplay is encouraged. It should never be encouraged. It should be, you should be forced to move around the map, to learn the ways of the map, and to use different routes than you normally would. And this game seems to do a great job of that. I feel like the Nasher is one of the strongest weapons of the primary weapons. You've got your Retro Lancer, which is nerfed to a great degree. You've got the Sword Off, which doesn't have a high amount of bullets, but is still kind of annoying, but not too annoying. And you have your Lancer, which is now nerfed a lot, and you have your Hammer Burst, which is nerfed a lot. It has a fire rate cap on it, which is just great. And overall, it feels like I can run around with the Nasher and, you know, do pretty well with it. I don't have to worry about getting myself into too many harrowing or dangerous situations, which is awesome. It's what I wanted from a Gears game, and what Gears 3 for me lacked in the nth degree. Now, although there are 4 maps, the 4 maps are great. The 4 maps have... It kind of reminds me of a map called Firing Range in Black Ops, where they had all these different access routes, points of access, and the ability to be able to jump off of walls, off of ceilings, through windows. Oh my god, how cool is that? You can jump through a window, you can just roll through a window and land on a street and then start murdering people left, right and center. It is insane. It is amazing, and at the same time, none of these amazing cool gameplay mechanics never come at the expense of competitive multiplayer. Well, at least for me it doesn't. Maybe I haven't had enough time to sink my teeth into this game and find out the flaws. But at the moment, first impressions wise, I'm loving this game. Who knows? Maybe a year from now, I'll just be saying Gears of War Judgment is the worst multiplayer game I have ever played. But at the moment, it's like, oh my god, I want more of this. Oh my god. Another problem is with this game is that the amount of characters that you get to choose from on the multiplayer is kind of disappointing. Gears of War 3 did a really good job of characters. You know, it had, well, I'm not going to name characters because I'll be terrible at naming them because I haven't played it, but it had a lot of characters, basically. You had Locust and you had Cog, you had so many characters to choose from, thanks to them having those two sides, whereas now it's only Cog and you only get 9, and a lot of those characters are variations of different characters, like younger Cole, or older Cole, or younger Paddock, or older Paddock, which is very disappointing. It's a minor little problem. Another minor problem for me, well, something that could be a problem but I don't really know yet, I haven't got to grasp with, is I'm not sure if I like the idea of primary grenades yet. It's okay, but I just wonder if maybe it's going to turn into a bit of a grenade clusterfuck. Pardon my language, but that's just kind of what it feels like, to be honest. But overall, the gameplay experience is just awesome. It's what I want from a Gears game. It rewards rushing, it rewards you know, being able to control power weapons, it rewards map control in a good way, not in a defensive way, and there's so many ways of outflanking people, outmaneuvering people, as long as your map knowledge is good, and it kind of has this. There's a lot of gameplay mechanics that have been added to this game that just make the game feel more like Halo, and I can't complain about that. You know, it feels like whenever they take, one of the best things I would say about this game is it feels like whenever they take mechanics from another game, from a different you know, game, like in the same way that Halo has borrowed mechanics from Call of Duty, when this game borrows mechanics, it never feels like that it's a bad choice to borrow them. I'm happy they didn't add stuff like kill streaks, like perks, because I just feel like they never would have worked in this game, and they seem to have only, you know, they seem to have picked carefully what they decided to add to this game, and I love that. I love that they didn't go overboard and just say, we're going to look at every other popular game on the market right now, and we're going to steal the cool things, and it's like, no, don't do that. Only choose things which apply to the game at hand. But at the end of the day, this was a 14 for 2 on breach shot only domination. I haven't talked much about the gameplay, but it's a fairly nice gameplay with a couple nice snipes. And yeah, I love this.